financial mistakes.
Saw the money ain't got activated. Saw the money ain't got activated. Saw that money ain't got activated. I saw that money ain't got activated.
What is up, guys? Catching up with you guys from the last clip. I don't know if I probably did an introduction in that portion yet, but we've got our new project home. Hopefully you guys didn't get like too excited for it to be something different, because there's nothing different, but what we're gonna do with it is gonna be hopefully different and exciting for you guys. And this is definitely gonna be probably one of the nicest builds I've done, like actually taking my time putting quality parts in it. Like, that's the plan at least, but I'm not gonna sit here and ramble on about it quite yet, because I want to kind of get it situated and then we'll talk about it more. I just kind of want to show you guys what we got and then go from there. So, without further ado, let me shut this door so we can see this beauty a little better. Oh my gosh, she's beautiful. All right, so we've got another hard body here. As you're probably thinking right now, what in the absolute literal like fuck did you buy? Like, this thing is uglier, one of the ugliest vehicles I think I've ever seen, probably. I would not be caught dead driving this thing because it literally looks god awful. Apparently it's locally hated too. I'm not 100% sure what was hated on. Maybe the camouflage on the doors. I don't know. But so just to kind of go ahead and get it off my chest, because the last thing I want you guys to think is the fact that I bought this thing and I just like, I'm gonna build this nice freaking truck out of this. That's not the case. So the reason I bought this truck is stuff you really can't see with the naked eye. The frame on this thing, believe it or not, with all the rust on the cab, is in really good shape from what I can tell. Not saying there couldn't be any surprises, but I did kind of do the main checks for rust, and there is a tiny finger hole right there on this arch, which is normal, and that would be a crazy easy fix. So not worried about that whatsoever. The arches are perfect. Just to kind of show you guys that I'm not playing, where'd my rust checker go? Oh, here she is. Okay, so the frame, the frame is extremely solid in all places. So the stuff that's falling is dirt, because this thing, and probably rust from this bed that was on there. Frame on this thing is actually in really good shape. It's funny because 90% of the time you either get a truck that has an excellent frame and a trash body. The body will be completely rusted out, but the frame will be immaculate, or you'll get a perfect mint body with a trash frame. As you guys know, my hard body, the nice one, well, semi-nice, the frame on it was pretty trash, not gonna lie. So at that point, we kind of fixed it up, patched it up. I could have drove it for probably years the way it was. I just didn't really want anybody to see a bunch of holes in my frame, so I patched them up. The hard body that I bought originally was supposed to be the drift missile, the drift truck, the one we built, you know, put a lot of nice parts on, yada, 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 which I would have loved to have done. But the realisticness of that would be kind of dumb. Because I'm putting a bunch of good parts, a bunch of time and money into a frame that is trashed, essentially. I could sit there and patch it all day long, but it's never going to be as strong as it was. And plus, the cross members underneath the truck are kind of chewed up too and stuff like that. And that's just stuff I don't want to mess with. I don't want to be under the truck cutting cross members out. I said, okay, well, we have a hard body that has extremely nice body and is a really, really good truck all around. It would make a perfect daily. And I happen to have a friend that was selling this dirt cheap, literally dirt cheap. We'll get into the price later. I mean, you can kind of see why. The rear end is actually broke on it, so it actually does run and drive fine. He said that it actually has a lot of nice parts, which he wasn't wrong. I'm not sure why anybody would ever put money into this thing, but it has wheel spacers on it, which is really surprising. Has a 2.5-inch rough country lift with the drop shackles and the nice shocks. And then it has, oh, I just broke a light bulb, great. It has aftermarket upper control arms, the drop down control arms with extremely nice shocks up front too. New ball joints, new tie rods from what it looks like. A lot of new parts, okay? Not sure why anybody would ever want to spend that money on this thing. I'm honestly very confused on that. I don't know. The exhaust is literally hanging out from underneath of it, but it has a very expensive, I would imagine pretty expensive rough country lift kit on it. Probably like $200 to $300. I don't know. But if anybody's interested in that, it is for sale. Just throwing that out there. The parts are, at least. So I'm kind of getting off track. Anyhow, we have really nice body on the one truck, and this has a really immaculate frame. So watching a video of a guy doing like a full build, full drift truck build, and all that stuff, I was kind of like, man, I really want to do it right, because that truck out there, I know I'm going to rush it because it's the only one I have, so I'm always going to be trying to rush and get parts done so I could drive it and have fun in it. And I just know that's what I'm going to do. That's how I am. Like, I'm the type of person that has to see immediate results. I rush things because I get excited, and it sucks, but that's the truth. So I was like, okay, this is what I'll do. I'll buy a second hard body with a clean frame. We'll tear it all the way down to the bare frame. Literally nothing left. Cab, everything gone off the frame, right? Pull the drivetrain out. I'm talking fuel, all the way down to the fuel. I mean, everything. Fuel tanks coming out. Whole front suspension, whole rear suspension is coming out. We're literally going to probably make some stands to bolt to the frame so we can roll the frame around, just to be able to work on it and then be able to move it out of the garage. We have a shop now, so we can work on stuff there too, but during the winter, probably won't be doing a whole lot up there unless we're working on the Cummins. So, but the plan is to do rear coilover suspension, full coilover suspension, nice prefab stuff from, I think it's B. Bonnie's Customs. He makes prefab Nissan hardbody parts for coilover conversions. And then probably, so I haven't really looked much into this, but I think a Ford 9-inch for a rear diff. I could be very wrong, but from my understanding, they're really strong. Then we're obviously going to do front coilover suspension. We'll have to get aftermarket upper control arms. We're going to extend our lower control arms. We are going to do a rack and pinion swap. So we have a rack, probably from like a Miata or something. And then the best part. So don't quote me on this because I've changed my mind on this quite a few times. I've put a lot of thought into it, and I really think that the best thing to do for myself and for the sake of keeping this thing running and being a good, reliable drift truck is I think we're going to LS swap it. But here's why. So, sure, I could pull this engine out, do a fully built KA, bottom end, everything, spend a ton of money, go standalone, and turbo it, obviously, and make probably close somewhere. I'm going to be realistic and say probably 400, maybe 500 horsepower. You can make up to 600 horsepower with a built bottom end and a standalone, but I'm not even going to go as far as to say that we would even make that, right? So we'll say 400 horsepower, right? We'll probably have, at the very least, probably about $3,500 to $4,000 in just that alone, with the standalone and the fuel system and everything, and the turbo kit. And I'm talking nice stuff. I'm not saying anything cheap whatsoever. I'm talking nice everything, just because I want this thing to be reliable, right? That's the whole purpose in us getting a dedicated truck to do this to. So for an LS swap I saw the other day, and this is probably a high priced one, I can get everything to make it run. The gas pedal, the whole harness, and the ECM and everything literally can run on a stand for $1,500, right? So then at that point, I gotta fab up some motor mounts, obviously probably stiffen up the frame a little bit because of the torque a V8 makes. And then at that point, I'm $1,500 in with an engine that can make 350, 400 horsepower with a cam and some tuning and some other stuff. It's going to be reliable. One, because you're not pushing it to its ultimate max. People literally are making 800, 900 horsepower on stock bottom end LS engines. Don't quote me on that. I mean, they might have pistons and stuff, but you see what I'm saying. The truth is, a V8 in this thing would honestly all around make it a whole lot better of a drift truck, right? Having a 4-cylinder turbo in this thing with a standalone and a built, we're going to have a lot of issues. We're going to run into a lot of wiring stuff. It's really just going to be a big mess to sort out, right? And that's just not something I want to deal with my first year ever going into drifting. Because one, I'm going to be learning the sport altogether, and two, I don't want to be learning the sport and also trying to keep a truck running at the same time. Not saying we won't have any problems with the LS. I do know that the oil pickups, you got to do something with those, because when the truck is swaying and stuff, the oil sloshes to each side, and I know that it can run the oil dry out. I'm pretty sure LSs are pretty known for that. So we'll probably have to do some little modifications as far as that goes, but as of right now, I'm really leaning towards doing an LS swap. Turbo 4-cylinders are dope, and I really do want to build one, which is leading me to my next thing. So we might take this one out, just gap the rings and stuff, and maybe eventually throw it in the other hard body just for fun. So that way we're not dealing with a drift truck that's unreliable with a turbo setup. We can have another truck that has all that. So that's kind of the gist of it. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into all of that. You know, we're going to have to figure out a good transmission, get a custom drive shaft made. You know, we got to make custom coilover loops up here. Same thing in the rear. I've seen some people use like a smaller coilover setup, and I've seen some people literally make like a shock tower with like a strut tower in the rear where it comes up real tall. And they use like car coilovers. I'm not really sure what the benefit of that is, but I've seen people do that. And then obviously that's just the suspension and drivetrain stuff. You know, we still got to get a bed, a cab, and all that stuff, which that's going to be the cheap stuff, honestly, compared to, you know, what we're doing. And at that point, I'm almost wondering if we should put like a small cage in it, like a 6-point or something like that. Because, you know, we're going to have it down to the frame. We're pretty much going to be building a dedicated drift truck, which another thing I kind of want to just throw out there is any vehicle I own is never going to be dedicated to one thing. Like, even once this truck is done, I'm going to street drive it, because that's just how I am. Like, I like to enjoy everything, and I don't know, I just like to street drive stuff, and it's still going to stay full interior, and, you know, the windows are going to be tinted. Like, all that stuff is still going to happen, but this is going to take time because it's going to be very expensive. So yeah. Okay, and then last but not least, kind of want to go over another plan I have for this. So my idea is to, every video we make on this, we're going to keep track of costs that we have in the truck and costs we make out of the truck, because we are going to sell some of the parts on it because we don't need a lot of it. The doors we might keep because they don't look rusty. The hood we'll probably keep, the cowl, little stuff like that. Maybe we'll keep all the interior stuff. But we're going to part out a lot of it. So what we're going to do is, like, we're going to put our initial investment. We'll probably write on the whiteboard, and I'll like tally it up on the screen and stuff. And we'll put our initial investment, what we've made out of it. Like, every video, we'll like tally it up. And then the goal is, by time this is finished, I can say, like, this is what it costs to build a proper drift truck. Like, this is what we have in it. This is what we've made out of it. This is what, you know what I mean? So that's kind of my plans with that. I feel like that makes it nicer, or like more enjoyable for you guys to watch, because like you can physically see how expensive it is, because this probably will not be cheap. But yeah, so that's kind of like another idea I have for the whole thing. Let me know if you guys like that. Other thing, I know this is a lot of talking, but I just kind of want to explain this thing before we start diving into it and then further videos. But we will still be drifting the other hard body next season. So, like, it's still going to be like a drift missile truck, but we're just going to probably try to leave it as stock as we can. Maybe we will do forced upgrades to it, and we're still going to street drive it and stuff like that. But I do want to drift next season, just to kind of get seat time, and then hopefully by the time this thing is done, I'll somewhat know how to drift, and then we'll be able to really enjoy it and really kind of push my skill level to the test. So that's kind of something else I wanted to let you guys know. Running! Just had to charge it up. It honestly sounds pretty good. It looks like it leaks a lot, but we'll give her a rev. It's probably smoking because it hasn't been started in a while, and And actually, it's probably smoky because it's cold, but I wouldn't be surprised if it burns oil too. Oh my god, dude. This thing hasn't even warmed up yet. Okay, so to kind of end out the video, I'm going to kind of total up our total investment so far in the drift truck here. So let's see, we'll put it over here. Drift build. Okay, we'll fix this later. So we have about $200 in the purchase of the truck, and then we have $83 in the tow. So we'll put truck, tow. So currently our total amount invested is $283, and we have not made any money out of the truck, so there's no money back. I gotta fix this. So $283. So our current investment in the drift build right now is $283. Obviously we will try to you know, spend the least money as possible, but I'm gonna buy nice parts for this thing. So but I hope you guys are as stoked as I am to kind of start something pretty cool on the channel. And I'll see you guys in the next video. In the next video, you can probably see us tearing this thing down, doing some upgrades to the other hard body, and yeah, maybe some snow. Maybe we'll get some snow, but I'll see you guys in the next video. Deuces.